I think that the depth of the sound of Alice in Chains is way more impressive in a way.
Impressive, as in, because I can really take hold of this. Impressive as in making like a literal impression, because like I say, like every time I think of Alice in Chains, like I can feel them,
right?
Like it's like the weirdest thing. I actually feel them in my ears,
right?
You know, but when I think of Nirvana, it's more like I'm like up to get, like, it's kind of like a pop reaction, you know. I'm like up to get peppy.
I feel like an Alice in Chains song, it's more of a soundscape in a way.
Yeah.
Like you can really just like kind of lose yourself into it.
Yeah.
Where Nirvana's kind of like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get up. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's another question. It's like, again, there's really no right or wrong in this. We're just doing this for fun. But it's like, what do you guys think? Like, when you listen to music, like, are you listening to it to like get energized, to be in a certain mood, or are you trying to like relax and be like contemplative? You know what I mean? Are you trying to like put yourself in the vibe of the artist? You know what I mean? Like how do you experience the music, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Because that is really another huge difference.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, you're not asking me? Oh.
No, we're enemies during this podcast. Right? But it's just, I don't know. I just think this is a really fascinating topic because they are so similar, but they are so different at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if you were talking about a band that was two bands that were more similar, you couldn't really do this argument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they are just similar enough and just in the same era that we can actually say, like, I don't know, this is kind of better than what they do at this point, but they kind of have them on this, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do this for a Soundgarden versus a Pearl Jam.
Probably. Oh, that
you know
was
what
so
I mean?
hard. Yeah.
This would be more difficult.
Yeah, they are very similar. They even sing similarly, Eddie and Chris. So
I will say, though, I think that if we're talking about the main grunge bands, I do think that Chris is probably the best vocalist.
Yes.
I think he wins for voice.
Yeah, I feel like Chris is the combination of Lane and Jerry. Like, you know what I mean?
But he doesn't play guitar as well.
No.
Or didn't, sorry.
That's true.
R.I.P. to Chris. Fuck,
Yeah.
Everybody's dead. This is depressing.
We're going to die. We're going to die after this podcast.
Fuck.
And you can immortalize us.
This is our, you know how everybody had their last grasp as they're unplugged?
Yeah.
This is ours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So Chris definitely wins for that as far as the overall grunge scene. But I think Jerry might be the best guitarist of that whole scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to give it to him in terms of like, yeah, technicality and like, I don't know, a lot of feel. Like, I feel like Jerry's one of those people who writes a song it's for himself first.
Right.
And like Kurt writes it for, I got to make this melody. I got to figure out what this melody is going to be. Like, right. It's kind of like that, you know? So it's just
So you're saying Jerry's more of an artist?
No, I'm just saying how people approach their songwriting skills differently, okay? Because you can fill a whole album with songs just for you and songs just for the melody.
Right. Well, but that's the thing that's interesting about music is like when you're making art for you and then what resonates with the people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what is it that you're doing that is so resonant to a lot of people? And that's something that, again, these bands share is that these songwriters are writing about their pain and their experiences, and that's why people kind of gravitated towards them so much. Yeah. Because people in their life that were also going through addiction or whatever, they could hear these songs and be like, oh, like, these people know what I'm going through.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely say, like, you know, when you're a kid, you think about the other states and stuff and all the things that make states famous that you see on TV or whatever. But around the grunge era, definitely had me say, like, whoa, Seattle's fucked up.
It's just raining all the time. Nobody's happy.
Right? It's like, whoa.
That's actually really funny. I didn't even think about that. Do you think that if Alice in Chains in Seattle were from like somewhere sunny, that they would be happier music?
Probably. I think so. I don't know. I definitely think so.
Like if they were from L.A.? No, I couldn't even imagine.
It would probably be wilder. If they were from L.A., they'd be like freaking like Motley Crue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'd just be wild.
Let me go with San Diego instead. Because L.A., I just couldn't imagine. L.A. is just too Hollywood for both of them.
Yes.
Like, there's just no fucking way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they would have to be somewhere north of California, like Washington State.
But okay, so let me think. So what other aspects of these bands should we go over? So I think it is hard. Honestly, I think it's hard to say who sings better between Lane and Kurt. Because Kurt is a really good singer, but there's something about Lane's voice that's really hard to quantify.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There is something, you keep using the word haunting, and it really does. Sometimes, especially now since they died, sometimes it feels like listening to a ghost sing to you.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah. Even when I would watch him on stage, I would feel, I'm talking about Lane here, I would feel like I don't know what I'm looking at or who I'm looking at. Like,
right.
I not like he wasn't impacting me, like not like I was confused, but I was just trying to figure out what I'm looking at. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you think that would make you more interested in like what's happening? Like, 'cause it's like it's more of a mystery versus, like you said, Kurt, like you kind of know who he is more.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? So like it's just another thing. It's just like what do you think is better?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I can even say, because I'm thinking about the Unplugged performances too, and then when Kurt came out,
Kate Cobain in the house.
When Kurt came out in that green sweater, it was just like, it's like a friend in a way. You're like, what is he wearing today? Like, because it's like a total Salvation Army like grandma sweater that he had on, and you're just like, you know what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like tongue in cheek, but at the same time he keeps it morbid, so you would have to really get into him to know. But with Lane, it's like a mystery, always.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I think Jerry is less of a mystery.
Right.
I didn't even really think about that until now.
Yeah, and I used to think Jerry was the leader because like he's not a mystery, like, well,
he kind of is the leader, right?
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, and he wrote most of his songs, but Lane also wrote which I think that's another point, right? Songwriting. I'm not saying that Alice in Chains wrote better songs necessarily, but I'm saying as a band, as a collective, they had more to do with the final output of the song.
All collectively, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, songwriting,
it's like, are we talking about a band or are we talking about an individual? Okay?
Listen, he is the band and the band is him. That's how it goes. If you're an artist, you know. If you're not an artist, you don't understand what I just said. Okay, it's plain and simple.
So what you're saying is that Chris and Dave don't matter. That's what she just said, right? That y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here first. They
need to be there. Listen, who here sold 75 million albums? Raise your hand.
Wait, is this Nirvana versus Sight After Dark? Is that what we're doing now? I don't think either of us could raise our hand.
I did. I sold them.
Good for you. But I just think that's another interesting thing to think about because it really was, Nirvana really was Kurt Cobain's brainchild, right? Like, I feel like if he lived longer, he could have had a solo career that could have been just as successful.
Yeah, but I would hope, and I would think that he wouldn't do that.
Well, that's just speculation.
Yeah, it's definitely speculation. I could see him doing something with just him and Chris, though, and not with Dave, for kind of obvious reasons. But
what reasons? He had better things to do. But no, I'm just saying, like, as a band and as a collective, I do want to give Alice in Chains a point for that because I feel like they're more of a band that's, we always say this, like somebody that's more than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
Where I feel like in Nirvana, obviously it's great, but you know what Chris is bringing to the table. You know what Dave is doing, and you know that Kurt is doing the heavy lifting.